Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're taking a look at a comparison between two Bruichladdich heavily peated releases. We're going to take a look at the Octomore versus the Port Charlotte. This particular Octomore is the 9.3. This Port Charlotte is the heavily peated 2012 Islay Barley. So the reason why we picked these two, same distillery. Octomore, this particular Octomore, the .3 is all local barley from the island of Islay. So is this particular Port Charlotte. So with a similar barley, Port Charlotte, heavily peated, high ABV whiskey, is it really worth over twice the price for this bad boy to buy this one here? So this one usually retails for about 70, 80 bucks. These ones are usually about $200. Now the Octomores are cask strength. This particular 5-year-old whiskey is 62.9% ABV, where this is 50% ABV. But again, fairly close, and both of them have a very similar, not PPM level, but as far as how they're crafted and everything.
Yeah, I don't know that they disclose the PPMs on these, but you are looking at, 6 years old here. These are
this one's
around
5.
that.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
So extremely comparable whiskeys.
Extremely comparable.
And it really begs the question.
Is it really worth
That's
that
a
much
lot
money?
extra money.
Yeah, you can buy over 2 of these for what it would cost for one of these.
And I'm hearing some of the new releases, Mike, in places like Benny's in Chicago. $270 now for the .3s. Yeah,
they're getting expensive. The .3, I will say, Dustin and I have already reviewed this one as we have many Octomores. .3, 9.3, this one here isn't the best Octomore we've ever had.
No.
Definitely not the worst Octomore we've ever had.
It's one of the best I've owned, but I've definitely tried better.
I mean, 8.3, 7.1, they were all way better than this.
I haven't owned all those.
It wasn't an epic Octomore.
Now, this one does have a little bit of white wine cask, I believe, if I remember correctly. I believe this is all your traditional bourbon. Not sure on the cask here either.
They're fairly close.
But yeah.
We're just trying to see if it's just an enjoyable experience. So like always, with the Versus series, if you were at a bar, which one would you pick up? And this is a little bit different to where if you're at a bar, which one would you pick up? But, you had to actually take the bottle home, would you really pay 210%?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's go with the Port Charlotte first, since that's a little bit lower of an ABV.
Makes sense to me. And tell you what, Mike, just sweet, candied, really nice barley note. Has that kind of young, farm-raised kind of barley element that I tend to appreciate on the Port Charlotte.
Very straightforward. In the straightforwardness, it reminds me of our Big Ten. But it's just 3 or 4 simple things, and they're all done well. Barley note, smoke.
Very clean and very sweet.
Sure, a little bit of brown sugar.
Oh, that's a good note. Yeah.
I always thought that was both the Port Charlotte and the Octomore. I always thought like the sweetness was brown sugar in my mind.
Our buddy Keith always brings up sugar cookies with Springbank, but I get a little bit of that here.
Yeah, I mean, because you use brown sugar on something like that.
There's another spice in here too that I can't come up with, but there's like a cooking spice I'm used to that comes in with like, I don't know. There's a little bit of a cooking spice here.
Yeah, it's almost like vanilla extract or something.
There's definitely some of that. Yeah. Really, really nice.
Pretty basic.
Yeah, but it's not just executed well; it's executed exceptionally well, I think. And you don't get any youth other than, like I said, a little bit of that barley, like local element that I think is actually really positive.
Instantly, you can tell this is way higher of an ABV. On top of that, barley note that comes off way stronger,
way less sweet, way more earthy, more smoke.
Which I've always heard that at some point you really don't get the difference in PPM. And this isn't a high PPM. This is what, 100 and...
For Octomore, it's not high, yeah.
Yeah, it's 100.
I think 45 is considered high for most people, like really high.
133. Yeah, so they say, after a certain point, I don't remember exactly what these Port Charlottes are at, but, say they're between 10 and 40 PPMs, like Lagavulin and Ardbeg and, Lagavulin and Lafroig and Ardbeg. They say it's really not that big of a difference. But on this nose right here, maybe it's somewhat driven by the ABV. It comes off as a big difference.
Well, I mean, part of it also is that this one was so much sweeter, whereas this one really isn't very sweet. It's much more...
hot fire.
I mean, there's just not a lot of sweetness here. I mean, it's not unsweet.
I think it's settling down. It's a very drastic jump in ABV.
Getting a little bit of like glue on here.
Seems a bit more basic on the nose, doesn't it?
It smells a lot younger.
It's aggressive, yeah. It's
aggressive, but I mean, it's just younger too. Like it doesn't seem as well integrated. It's not as sophisticated. I mean, really, the Port Charlotte's just so much.
It's almost like the difference between this one, almost being like Ardbeg 10, and this one being Laphroaig 10 cast strength.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you want cast strength and oiliness and, you know, a big oomph.
There's way more oiliness on this Octomore for sure. Super oily.
If you want a whiskey that smells really, really well balanced, I mean, we'll get into the taste, but
yeah, I'm getting a lot of oak spice on here too with the smoke, which is surprising. I mean, it's only 5 years, but I'm getting a lot more oak.
Okay, so I know when we recently released the top 5 Islas under $100, you know, as we thought, some people would say, hey, you know, you got to go with the Laphroaig 10 cast strength, you know, over the Ardbeg 10. But, you know, it's like, you know, Ardbeg 10, you know, you have that blind, you can tell that's quality whiskey. Yeah. I can tell this Port Charlotte is quality whiskey.
Yeah. I mean, I remember
was well put together.
When I first was taught that we were talking about that, you know, top 5 list, this was the first bottle that came to my mind, and you're like, hey, man, we can't do a limited one-off release for this list. And I was like, you're right, good call. But my thought was, like, these have always, well, this is my second one I've had, they've all been just
good whiskeys.
Unbelievably, like, impressive and so much cheaper than these guys.
Oh, so much cheaper. All right, let's get into the taste. I'm going to go with the Port Charlotte first.
Go for it, man. Yeah, and I mean, again, guys, these are not too hard to get. They're not super easy to get, but they're out there. They're not something you can't pick up. These, they sell out pretty fast. Even, they always have, and they're getting worse. But you can still pretty much get either of these without any trouble. There's online retailers that you definitely can get this from, but even locally, like, I'm still able to get both of these if I really want it.
You know, here in Columbus, we always get, like, .1 and .3, I think.
I don't think you get .3 some years.
I think this year is .1 and .3, or maybe it was
This year, maybe. I know in the past they've only brought in the .1. In fact, because again, we're in Ohio, where it's state-controlled liquor, and they don't know what sells because they don't know anything about whiskey.
No, they don't care.
No.
They're like, well, it didn't sell. Like, well, you didn't buy any.
Yeah, you didn't buy anything that sells. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what you have to buy? The stuff we want.
Yes, exactly. All right, so anyway, the taste. I like the smell better than I like the taste. But again, solid whiskey. Again, I will say, very, very reminiscent of the Ardbeg 10. Quality, straightforward, solid ABV. Doesn't do anything that's at a 10. Everything's 7s and 8s.
Oh, man, I'm getting wonderful, wonderful big smokiness here.
It's a good smoke. 7 and 8.
You know, we just had, like, you know, an epic, you know, Lagavulin. There's more smoke on this relative to the rest of the flavor. Like, the smoke is very, like, you can't miss it. It's half the flavor.
Oh, for sure.
So if you're really looking for a big smoke bomb,
yeah,
right here,
even at 50%,
yeah. Again, I'm getting like that, almost like light, like low sugar cookie dough.
I agree. There is a sugariness to it. You know what's weird about this one too is, you know, it didn't smell as smoky as it tastes.
Oh, it's super smoky compared to, like, the nose is all sweet, easy. Like, you're not even really thinking peated whiskey. Like, yeah, it's peated, but you're not thinking about the peat. You're thinking about, oh man, that sweetness, that barley,
nothing's out of balance.
Yeah, you're just. I mean, this is like.
Yeah, but you take a taste of that thing, man. It gets smoky fast.
Big smoke. Also, just a lot of, again, really good earthy, local barley kind of notes that you look for in those, like, Kilhomans and, you know, Port Charlottes. I mean, it's what they do so well. So that's just wonderful, natural barley. Just such a good example of that.
All right, so go to the Octomore, right? It's not as smoky on the palate. The aftertaste has a peatier aftertaste, but it isn't smokier initially on the palate. And why it's more barley forward, it's a little more basic as far as the rest of the flavors, and it's a little less balanced. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's more flavor here because it's cask strength. I can definitely tell that there's a different cask maturation going on.
But is it definitely better flavor?
That is definitely added here.
Is it better flavor, though? I mean, I know this is specific.
I get way more off notes on this one than I get on this one.
Agreed.
I get some odd, astringent, kind of sour, bitter oak notes here, which I've never actually really ever mentioned or thought about or talked about on this Octomore, because this 9.3 is one I really love. But they're here when you compare it to this much cleaner, much more refined, much more sophisticated element. God, the finish on the Octomore is so much bigger, so much longer.
So much better. That's the one place that definitely has it. I like the nose better, at least neat, on the Port Charlotte. I like the taste and I like the structure of the Port Charlotte. Simpler, but I like the structure. That finish on the Octomore, man, that thing stings.
I mean, I think, again, the difference in casking here is really helping this one. I think if we'd done like a 10-3 instead of the 9-3, that would have been a little more
drastic of a
balanced comparison. Because I didn't realize how much wine notes I actually get off this one until we did them side by side.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be a big deal, but you're right. It spices it up.
It adds, again, it's like that sweet, I think it's like a dessert white wine. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I was on their website
Comes
looking
off
at
sugary,
it.
yes.
And it really gives it something else. Man, the finish is nice on this. I'm honestly,
It's a great finish.
I'm really torn between these two whiskeys right now, Mike.
Yeah, all right, so we threw some water in. Let's just do the same thing.
So getting anything different on the nose?
Well, not really. I mean, good balance. That is everything you want, nothing you don't want, nothing off-putting.
Yeah, I think I get a little more of like that fresh local barley kind of element, like the there's almost like a green note, you know, like kind of
I suppose more organic.
Yeah, kind of note. Organic, not in the sense of like it's an organic food, but like organic is in like you're smelling a live like plant or something.
Good whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, just again, still smells great. Still smells clean.
Octomore with water is getting sweeter. Way sweeter.
It's more aromatic too. You're getting a lot more to it.
Yeah.
There's still like a glue note, which I think is the barley. Whereas this one's green. This one to me is more of a
artificial. Constructed, let's say.
Well, I think the artificial here is the white wine. It's more earthy, glue, like just sort of it's more peat, like it's more peat organic notes like than this one is. So like this to me is like, you know, you've seen like, you know, they cut the peat out, you know, they dig in those bogs. It's giving me that like earthy, like clay kind of like, you know, dirt note. Like, you know, they put a lot more of that on the barley before they smoked it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm actually nosing here. I feel like as I'm getting more of that earth.
All right, so let me ask you this. As these things always come down to, regardless of price, you're at a bar, trying to have a good time. You don't want to drink the most expensive whiskey. You want to drink the best whiskey you can. Someone gives you a choice between the two. What are you drinking?
In this comparison, just trying them both with water in them now. Taking this one. And I think because of the water difference is really what pushed it over the edge. I was actually pretty close on this one, but man, you add water to that one, really, it opens it up.
This is about as close as I've come in a long time. I don't need these things. When I'm at a bar, I want just consistency, balance. I don't want something sharp and then something sweet. I want something I enjoy the whole time.
Ooh.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. Regardless of which one of our opinions is correct or more accurate, let's say.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. We're both so close here.
Dude, there's no reason to pay the extra money for this.
No. I mean,
if you want to try.
Like,
it's so close.
I think this is the first time you've gotten to have this one, right, Mike?
No, we've had it before.
Okay. I mean, I've
had this before. You know what I'm saying? In different variations. I've had
different years. Okay.
I mean,
every time I've had this, we're not talking the 10-year, we're talking these like actual Islay Barley ones.
Yeah.
I am floored by how darn good it is and how much it actually stands up right next to these guys. And it begs the question why I own like 7 of these and I own 1 of these.
I have 2 Port Charlottes. I have a 16-year-old that's an independent bottle, and I have that 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know why. And I have like five Octomores.
Yeah, I've got so many Octomores.
Because I think every year is a little bit different. I'm like, oh, let me get .1, .3 again.
But then these are different every year too. And I let them go by. I don't know why. I think it's because people hype this one up so much. And so then I have that FOMO.
It's in a cooler bottle. It's
taller.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of pomp and circumstance to it.
But it's so expensive for what it is.
For sure. I guess what it comes down to is we are going to drink both of them anyway. This is really a scenario where I want to tell people, if you like Bruichladdich and you really love this whiskey and you're like, you know, I really don't want to spend the extra money on whiskey. Don't. Yeah. This brings you 99% of what this bottle brings you. I mean, the only difference is it's cast strength.
Yeah. So it's oilier, it's waxy.
Yeah.
It's not waxy. It's oilier, it's more viscous, it's more coating on the mouth.
I don't think this is chill filtered.
No.
I don't think it is. I mean, 50% is a strong ABV, and it is a smoky whiskey.
I would be absolutely floored. No, there it is. Yeah, it's well, no, I can't read actually. No,
that's all right. If it's wrong, we'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I don't think it's listed here, but there's no way. I mean, there's just
I doubt that.
There's no way somebody like Bruichladdich would do that because
that's just so off profile for what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they are a quality distillery, and this is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not saying, you know, I've always thought Octomores were overpriced. This feels priced right.
Yeah.
If this was a $110 bottle, I get it. If this was Lagavulin 16 and Lagavulin 12 cask strength,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
15, 20 bucks extra.
Cask strength makes sense. There's more whiskey in this bottle than this bottle.
But it isn't 43%.
No, it's 50.
It isn't 43, it isn't 46, it isn't 40, it isn't 40 anything.
Yeah.
It's 50.
They weren't half-assing it. They went full in, said 50%. We're not going to cut this. We're going to give you a full mouthfeel, full experience.
Dude, and that's what I love about all the port Charles. I mean, I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure maybe some aren't, but everyone I've had is 50% ABV, it feels like.
I'm not aware of anything that's not, yeah.
All right. It's just a good, strong ABV, consistent offering. Again, this is cask strength. It's a cooler bottle.
Definitely cooler bottle.
Although it's punchier.
I like these things.
Swattier.
Yeah.
Black does a good job with all those things. Black Art, I mean, they have some variation in their bottlings.
Their bottles they're functional and they're good looking.
Yeah.
That one might be a little tall, but that's...
It's like Apple.
Well, and the only problem with this one is, I know in some of the places I put my bottles, this has to go on the top shelf because it's the only shelf it'll fit on.
It has to go on my floor. It can't fit in any shelf.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll live. Trust me. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the Sprickly one, this versus series. Don't spend the extra money if you don't want to. If you don't want to, this is as close as you're going to get to a better version of the Big Brother version of a Scotch that you will ever see.
And again, I think this is an above average top 3. It's not the best, but it's an above average.
It's a pretty good one. It's way better than 10-3.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are our thoughts. Dustin, until next time, folks.
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.